Well, good evening, folks. Yours truly vlogging from rather nice hotel on Lake Zegrze in just outside Warsaw. In fact, that's where I am. I'm taking a couple of days off of my legal work to do some writing, and some of you may know that I've been writing for, well, obviously you know about my book, but this is a feature film screenplay that I'm working on with a Polish producer, quite a successful Polish producer. I am having to pay him a little bit of money to script consult and to develop a screenplay. And I'm currently in this kind of a writing hole where, I'm a bit kind of clueless. I've got reams and reams and reams and reams of material, writings going back decades, in fact. I first got this film off of the ground in Canada, would you believe, 25 years ago, when I won a short film competition and ended up winning a slot on New Players Pitch platform in a big North American film and television festival. But having got the plane off the ground, it kind of rather ungloriously kind of crash landed afterwards, and it's been in the hangar under repairs for a couple of decades, and I've been tinkering with it all this time. I still don't know what it is, and I'm hoping for some kind of inspiration as a result of this partnership having since landed in Poland. And it's going to be a Warsaw comedy about a dude who kind of reinvents himself in Warsaw, having had a disappointing life back in the UK, and he wants to make it, but he feels that if he's failed, then the kind of on the great kind of stage of life he's yet to achieve. And he's shackled up with a lovable loser slacker flatmate when our story opens, and it goes south from there before he finds himself in Warsaw, and there's an opportunity for some kind of reinvention, and you can fill in the gaps quite possibly. Will he or will he not make it? Will he get the trophy girl? Will he get the trophy job? Will he succeed in his reinvention? His life up to that point having been a disappointment. And for anybody who has or is reinventing themselves in a foreign country, not necessarily even a foreign country, but just somehow creating kind of a new life for themselves, finding themselves feeling a little bit last chance saloon in life, has someone who feels as if they haven't made it, whatever that means. This is the kind of vibe of the film that I've been working on. So it's got resonance for me, obviously, and in terms of my dating life, and in terms of my day game, daytime approach, recent experience and sort of current status quo, I find myself in a rather unusual position. It's interesting because I got into this stuff in order to acquire skills and to be able to be good with women, and at the early part of this year, January, February time. Aha, thank you very much. Splendid. Okay. I had a mini relationship with a girl who, nearly 10 years doing this stuff. I don't think I could have met a classier, more attractive, more kind of compatible girl than this particular one. And it's disappointing that the wheels came off for whatever reason, and that kind of mini relationship ended. It felt like, it's not really that often that you meet someone you really click with, is it? And I really clicked with this girl. So I kind of trying to move forward through that. But what's so interesting is I've kind of achieved what I've set out to achieve in terms of being good with women, because this girl was just ticked so many boxes. I mean, you know, you could conjure up as many boxes as there are stars in the sky. Should have probably ticked 99% of them. And yeah, I find myself having to kind of pick myself up and go forward through that. On the upside, you know, if I kind of helicopter myself to the moon, if you can get there by helicopter these days, you probably can if you're Elon Musk, and look back at the globe, the Earth, and I'm spinning around it, and there we zoom in through space into the atmosphere, through the clouds, and we move in, track into a guy in a flat in a corner of Warsaw, and it's like, oh my word, how on earth has he pulled that off? You know what I mean? Proper romantic, proper sexually satisfying experience with a girl who, as I say, ticks all those boxes. So, and yet it's like, okay, and it feels like it's time to write the sequel to Too Late Mate, which will be called The Last Date, because it feels as if there's been a conclusion to that journey. And yet it's like you've reached the end of that journey and you realise that it's not really the journey that you should have been on, or the I don't say it wasn't a good journey to embark upon. I mean, I really don't. I mean, if I was to look back at the last 10 years, in spite of the hits that I've taken, and they've been occasional but pretty powerful hits, you know, if I hadn't embarked upon that journey, where would I be now? I think I could be in a bit of a grim place. I don't think I'd be vlogging to you guys. I don't think I'd be sitting in this funky hotel, and I don't think I'd be dating a couple of girls. It's so interesting, isn't it? And the mind works. It's like before this magical mini relationship, I was dating a couple of girls, but it was intermittent. Nothing had sort of taken hold. The dates were occasional, good, but occasional. And now afterwards, I've kind of gone back to those two girls, and I saw one last week. I kind of feel now that having battled with her over the last 18 months, the tables have shifted a bit. It's like she's chasing me and I'm a little bit more indifferent, perhaps because of that magical mini relationship. And then there's another girl who actually doesn't live a million miles away from here, who I really like too. But again, I'm slightly ambivalent about it, even though it kind of hurts. She was going to be joining me tonight for a date, but it looks as if it's not going to happen. But again, that I kind of feel as I've got the skills, the equipment to be able to deal with that. You know what I mean? I don't think I know I wouldn't have been in a position to be able to have two younger 30-something genuinely attractive girls in my life whom I'm dating if I hadn't done this stuff. But my point is that having completed that, I now realise that, you know, happiness doesn't lie in having a trophy or hot girlfriend. And even were I to get into a marriage, a long-term relationship, a proper partnership, again, would that bring me the happiness that I seek? You know? And it makes me think that, you know, what's really going on is sort of an inner battle with oneself, And what I need to do is to address the inner world, not just the outer world. And perhaps ask the question, why is it that I crave this trophy girlfriend so much? Perhaps this is material for the screenplay, and the reason that I touch upon it is perhaps because it's, you know, kind of relevant, and there's a very interesting kind of question, an issue there, isn't there, in terms of our lives. Anybody who's embarked upon this stuff might have come from a place where when they were younger they weren't very good with women, and then they get to a place where with determination, commitment, they become good with women, and they realise that that's not where their ultimate happiness lies. It's funny because I gave a best man speech about 30 years ago, just after I'd left public school with a friend there who married quite young. I remember I started the speech by saying that anybody who thinks that their happiness lies in marriage is a fool, which is kind of a bit of a controversial, slightly arrogant thing to say. But my point was that I felt that they were good partners, like business partners, let's say, and that they didn't depend entirely on the other person for their happiness. In spite of the fact what Four Weddings and a Funeral or Notting Hill or any romantic comedy might like to persuade us of, your happiness doesn't actually lie in, as we know as men, as you go through this rite of passage, in hitching your cart to a standout girl, A1. And indeed, perhaps ultimately, the journey is where you're kind of chilled and detached and disinterested in that whole area. And that's when A1 may float into your life. But it's like this internal struggle has got to be dissolved or addressed or acknowledged, accepted and overcome in order for you to move forward. And in a way, the universe decides who you're going to be ending up with, not you. It's interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of things in life, you can kind of go for them and, you know, become good at sport, become good at your job, become good at a certain skill, like playing a musical instrument, joining a band, or, you know, having a clear measure of success simply by means of application, conviction, determination, and resolution. But kind of strangely, in this area of dating, approaching girls and relationships, it's a little bit different. Another interesting thing is that, you know, this angst is still there in spite of the fact, as I say, that I've achieved a good level of success. It's interesting because just this week, I've said this before, but if I go out deliberately to approach guys, I've got a friend in Warsaw, and a couple of months ago now we went out a few times together, you know, to approach girls, and I enjoyed myself, and I think he had more success than I did. Ended up approaching girls who were married or actually engaged, just recently engaged. But I enjoyed myself. But I felt that, it felt like that was, and just 2 days ago, I was just coming back from a coffee shop, and I saw a girl walk along the street, and I followed her into a kind of a complex where there was a coffee shop, trendy coffee shop. She sat down, and, you know, I just went over, ran the routine, as it were, and got a telephone number. It was an attractive girl. I loved the way she walked. It was really sort of sassy walk that she had. But I haven't followed up. And it's like, but the thing is, it was a terrific, what was it, say terrific, just a nice, natural approach of a girl who was responsive. You know, when she put up the frame tests, I navigated them. She wanted to invite me to an art exhibition or hook up on Instagram, boom, 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 dealt with all those issues. No, and she ended up kind of coming into my frame and me giving the telephone number and leaving. It was really quite cool, but you can, having learnt this stuff, just as you're going about your normal day-to-day, you can get a telephone number of a genuinely attractive girl. And yet, as I say, in the context of this vlog, it feels as if that isn't addressing the issue. So I'm just really sharing an update with you. I have been, you know, I've found a little bit of fresh inspiration with Tinder, of all things. I wanted to work with some guys I know who helped me on the dating courses, and they've set up a Tinder business because, in a way, it's just something new and fun and interesting. And I've actually stumbled on, of all people, a squash buddy who's kind of really smart guy, an American, and he's been developing a business with a buddy where they produce photographs for guys and girls, whether it's for Instagram likes or Facebook or Tinder or whatever it might be. And I met with him last week. He took a couple of photographs because I found myself quite enjoying myself, learning how to pose for a camera, learning how to deliver your authentic self through images, which is again another skill. It's like day game. And I'm kind of quite excited about getting on a roll with a fresh project that I will make available on this channel in order to get guys to learn how to enhance their profiles, specifically on Tinder, but it could be used for, as I said, a variety of different applications and on a variety of different platforms. And what floated my boat when I met him, he just spontaneously picked up his camera, took a couple of photographs of me in a coffee shop. They were really great photos. He got me to act quite naturally. And it made me think, this is quite cool. I quite enjoyed being a model, you know, and learning what it really is to be yourself and communicate yourself to a camera. And I'm very interested to see how attractive that'll be in terms of enhancing the matches I get on my Tinder profile. I've got a girlfriend who does a bit of Tindering for me, and also do a bit myself once a week, maybe twice a week, swiping. So that's an interesting project too. But in a way, all of these things are just, I guess it's better to be doing this and getting yourself out and about and being creative and having fun than going to seed, which is what an older dude can quite easily do. Then as I say, then doing nothing. But the point is, it still doesn't resolve the central kind of key question of where does our happiness lie. And for me, it's, you know, this process of self-development, which is more about shining a light on what's going on in your heart and your mind, not grappling with it too much, but seeing it clearly, because I believe that you've got these, Shakespeare in Hamlet calls them vicious moles of nature in a speech. You've got, it's quite strong, isn't it? But you've got these character features or character flaws, if you like. It's really just simple ignorance and wrong thinking and wrong ideas that need to be addressed. A man addresses them by taking action. So, you know, he learns how to approach girls, and then you think, okay, fine, I've learned about myself. But then he learns, actually, I haven't learnt the full story. and actually there's other things that I need to address and shine light on and transcend. And so that's where, I guess that's where I am. And indeed that's probably my philosophy for all 250 of you who are listening. The direction of travel in life is enlightenment, by which I mean lighting up, nothing fancy, nothing external, lighting up what's going on in you and in everyone else and in the entire world, and seeing clearly what the truth of any situation is, being truly knowledgeable in a very practical way. And you know, you do that by taking action, not just by sitting under a banyan tree and meditating. Although meditation for me is part of that, a very important part of that process. So I don't have anything more to say. I thought I'd just kind of share with you what my situation is. For those of you just getting into the stuff, strap on your balls, you bastards. It's very important to just get on the horse and take action in this area of your life. Don't get too woo-woo as a result of watching this video, unless you're an experienced guy who wants to get and needs to get a bit woo-woo. But otherwise, strap on those balls, you bastards, and see you in the next vlog.